The next lesson in Code Studio Unplugged is functional Suncatchers. Functional Suncatchers is about functions. It's about functions and variables. The key to this lesson is making it a little bit sneaky. We aren't going to come right out and say, we're working with functions today. We're going to teach you about variables. Instead, this lesson is more about the activity. It's about the Suncatcher. You get to walk into your class with this one and say, hey, look at my Suncatcher. Look how fantastic this thing is. We're all going to make Suncatchers today because I had so much fun doing it. Are you excited? I know you're excited. And they will probably be excited because it's art and it's beads and it's sparklies and it's fun. So you tell them, all right, this is the pattern that we're going to make. We want to have kind of all of them have things in common. So we're all going to follow the same pattern. You're not even going to hand out the beads till the very end. I'm going to teach you the pattern that I followed. Bead, not, spacer, not. Bead, not, spacer, not. And then we put on a special charm and a finishing knot, and it's done. Then you get to go through with your class and say, all right, before we get started, I want to make sure we all understand the pattern. So I want you to say it along with me. You ready? Bead, not, spacer, not. Bead, not, spacer, not. Special bead, finishing knot. At this point, you're going to go to your overhead projector or your board where you will have a copy of kind of this program sheet with just the bottom half showing of the program there. And you're going to start writing down the program. Bead, not, spacer. Uh-oh, what are we realizing? So ask the class, what are you noticing? Is there a problem here? Some of them might point it out ahead of time. And they'll say, yeah, we don't have enough room to write everything down. And you say, oh, you know what? Okay, we have this other sheet of paper here. And we have a program. But up at the top, we also have this little skill area here and the skill area there. That's a place that we can define skills and then we can call them from the program. So we can put lots of instructions in here. And then whatever we put in here, we can call that over and over again from inside the program. Now, what I'm going to do is hand out a sheet to every group. And I'm going to let you think of what skills we can define, what things in this program repeat over and over. If you find something that repeats, you can put it up in one of the skills, and instead of spelling it out every time, just call skill 1 or call skill 2. Pass it out, let them struggle a little, but then go over and help make sure that every table understands what is a skill, how do you define it, how do you call it, what does that mean, but do that individually because some tables won't need that help at all. And then in the end, you'll see that not everybody's come up with the same thing, and it's good to point that out too. Then you call everybody back together and you ask for volunteers. What's your program? They share their program. You say, would that make the same Suncatcher? Yes, it would. Awesome. Does anyone have anything different? See how many different ways your class can come up with to do the same Suncatcher. Now we're finally ready to pass out supplies. And if you have a volunteer that passes out supplies, you can use this as a time to say, now, some people are going to have blue beads, some people are going to have red beads, or some people's beads are going to be square and some are going to be round. Just point out that they might be different. And yet you're all going to know when you put your bead on. We weren't specific. We used the word bead, which means whatever bead you have. In that way, we can use it for various kinds of beads. That word is called a variable. Same with special charm. I don't know what charm you have, and if it's the same as theirs or if it's different from theirs, I don't know. It varies. We've used the words special charm as a variable to hold the place for whatever you're actually going to put in. If you want, you can make the comparison to video games. Say, if we were going to play a video game and you had to wait till it knew your name for the rest of the programming to happen, How long would it take for video games to get out there to the world? It would take forever, and it would be really expensive. So instead, they put a variable there. Let you enter the name later, then they can use your name throughout the program. You can go into all that. You can skip it. You can call it back later if it just doesn't suit you at the moment. You can do the same thing with functions. You can say, see how we had that definition of things that we wanted to call all by one name, skill one? That's a function. You can define your function and then you can call it later. And then that way you don't have to write it dozens of times. What if we needed to call it 100 times? What if we needed to call it 1,000 times? It's so helpful to have these functions that you can call on again and again instead of rewriting it every time. But all of that comes at the end. It's not bombarding them at the beginning when they're just wanting to do something fun. They get in there, they learn what they're going to do, they get their beads, they got their hands on everything, and then you say, oh, by the way, here's a variable, here's a function. Isn't it fun? And they say, yeah, because it is. Once your class has their Suncatchers made, if you have a document camera, let them come up and display it for everybody to see underneath the document camera. It's a really fun activity. It gives the students something to take home, and it is super educational.